What's up, YouTube? Cam that guy here. I'm back once again with another YouTube video, man. You know what I'm saying? So, in this YouTube video, I'm going to be explaining the best years of my life, right? So, the best years of my life was 2021 through 2023, simply because this is when I got a job. This is when I started getting money. This is when I started driving. This is when I started having sex. This is when I started to live like a normal life type shit. You know what I'm saying? So I want to get into this. You know what I'm saying? I want to get into the best years of my life. Now I wrote songs about these. You see, so I wrote songs about these or the good memories I wrote about my job shit, and I wrote about my sex shit. You know what I'm saying? I talked about my school shit. I talked about public high school, and I talked about life after high school, right? I was gonna write about that through music and shit. You know what I'm saying? I could have produced a good amount of songs with that, right? There was so much other shit I was gonna write about with music, but it had to come to an end because of reasons and shit, right? But who knows? I could be getting back to doing music. Who knows, right? But that's not the topic of this video. The topic of this video is the best years of my life. You know what I'm saying? My best years, right? So it's 2021 through 2023. So let's go ahead and get to this video. You know, so let's do this. I kind of throughout the videos on my channel, I talked about what I'm saying, my jobs, old jobs and shit, as far as Dollar Tree and Home Depot. I talked about these jobs throughout my YouTube channel, but I never really got into deep detail about this shit. So I want to get into detail about both jobs, right? So here we go, man. Let's begin with Dollar Tree. So how I got a job at Dollar Tree, I'm gonna start with Dollar Tree Saga, then I'm gonna go to Home Depot Saga. I'm gonna explain important details about both these jobs. So here we go. Dollar Tree. So how I got a job at Dollar Tree, I simply walked in. My boss was stocking some shit. I said, "Are y'all hiring?" He said, "Yeah." I already did an application, by the way. I did an application online. I said, I walked up to him. I was like, or y'all hiring? And he said, yeah, I did. I was like, I did an application online. Can you check the status of it? This and the third. He interviewed me. He said, come back around this time. You can go ahead and get on the register. He was eager to get me a job. He was eager to get me working and shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what ended up happening. You know what I'm saying? Um, I went in for the interview. I went ahead and got the job. You know what I'm saying? At this time I had Popeyes experience and all that other shit. I just quit Popeyes. I was ready to try out Dollar Tree. Let me try a retail job. Let me try something easier. That's what I ended up doing. Right? Retail is more up my alley. I do not like fast food. I don't like being in that environment. Always all hot, always cleaning. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with ghetto ness. I don't like that shit. Not an environment for me. Retail is more up my alley. To be honest, uh, uh, what word can I use for it? Like hardware is more up my alley as far as like paint or plumbing or something like that. That shit's more up my alley. That's what I have the most recent memory on. Even though something like a Dollar Tree or a Target or a Walmart is easier than that, I like the construction shit. That's what I like. I like that more. It's more intriguing, right? Man, back to the topic I have. So I end up coming back at Dollar Tree. I'm on the register. Shit, he teaching me simple shit. The register was easy peasy, right? Dollar Tree's an easy job. I was scared of shit. You know what I'm saying? It was all easy, right? So what ended up happening, you know what I'm saying? On my first day there, you know what I'm saying? On my first day there, I don't remember my first day, but I can tell you one of my more recent days, right? On one of the, I think it was like one of my second or third day, they ended up calling me in, right? I had this girl manager call me on the phone, right? I mentioned her in my song actually. It was one of the managers that I said that should get a raise. She ended up calling me. She really, really nice. You know what I'm saying? Really nice, really polite. And the way she talked to me, she talked to everybody pretty much the same, but I feel like me, she did a little bit different. So she talked to everybody pretty much the same, but I feel like for me, it was a little different, right? But she really nice as shit. She talking to me and shit like that. She teaching me certain things, all the other shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Interesting. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, she made me nervous, you know what I'm saying? But that's how she was. That's just the type of person she was and shit. Then, you know what I'm saying, it was this guy manager, right? He was an assistant store manager, right? He was nice to me and shit. He was cool and shit. He was telling me stuff, all that other shit, you know what I'm saying? Of course my boss was telling me stuff, he was telling me stuff and shit like that. It's crazy because when I first started working there was only three guys there. It was me, assistant store manager, and store manager. We was the only three men there, right? Assistant store manager, I never really crossed paths with him because he was a morning. I was an afternoon. So I never saw him. I only saw the store manager and then the closing manager. I didn't see the assistant store manager often when I first began. So the only guys was there was just us three and the rest were ladies. But we started getting up more guys as time went on. So another one of my first days, you know, then I was just scanning shit, you know, so we were just chatting and shit. He tried to get to know me and shit. I don't remember the conversation at all. I don't remember these conversations, but I'm about to get into more detail and shit. I'm trying to just lay out some foundation before I get into the details and shit. I'm gonna try to remember this the best I can. So whatever happened after that, you know, so as time goes on and shit, we get new people and shit. We get new hires. I end up getting some new guy. I'm gonna fast forward. Let me fast forward. You know what I'm saying? I mean, between this time period, let me fast forward to the management. You know what I'm saying? Let me fast forward to management. So I ended up getting promoted to manager, right? Because between this time period, I was just learning. I was closing with my closing managers. It was like the same thing every day, you know. So we was just talking, getting to know each other, some shit. They was teaching me how to do go backs and recovery. It was a training session and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? So to skip ahead to management, I had to get promoted to manager. The boss asked me, do I want to be a manager? I said, yeah, you know, so let me call my guardian and see. You see what she said about it. She said, go for it. Now, I was going to do it anyway, but I just wanted to ask her, you know what I'm saying, like, okay, what if this is a bad decision as far as, like, what if it costs me to get in trouble with the law or something? What if I mess up, I get in trouble with the law? Like, I think I should take this risk. You know what I'm saying? I didn't ask my boss. My boss just asked me, "Do you want to be a manager?" You know what I'm saying? I didn't know it comes with all these consequences and shit. Being a manager is a big responsibility, no matter what job you at. You know what I'm saying? But I ended up going on with it, and I do the manager. I end up taking these tests. I get promoted, right? As a manager, shit, I already know what to do and shit. But when I first became a manager, I low key was working a little hard. I tried to show I'm a good manager. I was recovering kind of hard. Trying to do go backs and shit. Want to register and shit. Doing all this other shit. My employees was cool. You know what I'm saying? I ended up having this guy employee. He was cool. He drove a truck. He's kind of country or whatever. I'm assuming he is. I'm not sure if he is or not. You know what I mean? He was a cool guy. He was down to earth. You know what I'm saying? You know how to talk and shit. You know what I'm saying? We had good conversations. I enjoyed talking to him. You know what I'm saying? All that other shit, right? Then, you know what I'm saying? It was this girl, right? I mentioned this girl in the whole video, right? She was somebody I had interest in, but she was young and she was getting ready to move to another city. So that it was those two reasons are the reason why I didn't proceed to try to get to know her in a deep fashion. You know what I'm saying? As far as like be trying to like be her, you know, friend. You know what I'm saying? I just looked at her as a work buddy, right? You know what I mean? And then, you know what I'm saying, it was this guy, he was at high school, right? He was cool to talk to and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? He was cool as shit. It was this big guy that worked there, right? You know what I'm saying? He had a lot of health issues and he walked with a cane and shit. I remember him. I'm describing my employees and shit. There was this big woman there. We had about 12 people there. I don't feel the need to describe all of them, you know what I'm saying? But let me get into some stories, right? Let's get into some stories. So, let's talk about, let's see, because most of the time at Dollar Tree, it was really the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, and then this autistic guy and shit. So let me start off with him. I was working with this autistic guy, right? When he first came, he was talking a lot. I'm just gonna speak of who I was working with from here and stories between us the stories between my cashiers. So I was working with this autistic guy. He talked a lot. He talked a whole lot. He talked a lot, So I'm talking. He talk about everything. When you work with him, you will never be bored. If you work with this guy, you will not be bored. He will keep you entertained. So he will call you up to the front just to talk to you. I remember one time I was working on the aisle, right? He called me up to the front just to talk to me. Sometimes I'll be in the break room. He'll call me up just to talk to me. But sometimes, most of the time, he'll call me up for actual help. Like he actually need help with something. And sometimes he know the answer, but he just does it for reassurance. Like I said, he's autistic. This is what autistic people do. But that's just what he was doing and shit. You know what I'm saying? He was cool to talk to. You know what I'm saying? I talked to him back. I didn't treat him no different, no regular. I treated him normal and shit. We talked normally and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But let me just play this one time. One time his talking almost pissed me off. You know what I'm saying? Like one time, I was literally like, I think I was like in the restroom or something. He kept ringing this shit. I'm like, ain't no way he's doing it. I told him I was going to the restroom, and he's ringing this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is he doing that for? You know what I'm saying? I walked up to him. I don't really remember this story. So it was a while ago. I think I was like, I told you I was at the restaurant. Why you kept ringing that? He was like, oh, I needed you. I'm like, what? Ain't no way. You know what I'm saying? But he's autistic, so that's what autistic people do. You know what I'm saying? And then there was this one time I was talking to this girl, right? He ended up ringing the thing. I was chatting with his cashier. I was trying to get her social media or some shit. He had to ring the bell and try to call me up to the front or some shit. I thought that was funny as fuck. You know what I'm saying? He cop blocking this shit. You know what I'm saying? I did a video on that before. You know what I mean? Just shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It'll be other shit. Like I said, I was on the aisles. He'll call me up. I was fixing the aisle. He'll call me up. So most of the time when I work with that autistic guy, I stay up front. You know what I'm saying? I stay up front and just talk to him. You know what I'm saying? There's no point in me being on the aisles. You know what I'm saying? Because he gonna call me up and shit. I stay up front and chat with him. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do and shit. But he was cool and shit. He was nice to talk to and shit. I mean, even though he was autistic, you had to have patience with him and shit like that. I have a lot of patience, but to a certain degree. He was cool to talk to and shit. Next, let's talk about. Let me talk about girls. So I talked about guy. Let's talk about girl next. So let me think. I'll talk about the girl. I'll talk about that girl that would be moving this shit. You know what I'm saying? That moves this shit. Let me talk about her and shit. You know what I'm saying? So at first, I thought, she was really, really soft spoken, right? Really timid, you know what I'm saying? But as time went on, she ended up breaking out. I feel like I broke her out, you know what I'm saying? That's what I feel like I do. I feel like the more we talked to her, the more she started being more open. When she first got there, she was quiet, didn't talk. You know what I'm saying? Then she started talking and shit, you know what I'm saying? And that's typically how it goes for new workers. When you new, you don't really talk, so you looking around trying to get a feel for your environment. But she ended up talking and shit. She seemed alright and shit. You know what I mean? But like I said, you know what I'm saying? It seemed as if, you know what I'm saying, just with all these scenarios and shit, I did not go with the process of trying to be her friend. I was just talking to her as a worker. Though I wanted, if she was older and wasn't moving, I would have connected with her, so I'm gonna be honest, you know what I mean? But she was only there for a little bit. We had good conversations. She listened to everything I said. Remember all the little things about me. You know what I'm saying? Um, her conversation skills were okay. You know what I'm saying? She know how to talk and shit. She told me things about her. She did not judge me. You know what I'm saying? Even though I talked about a lot of cringy things to her, she didn't judge me. None of that shit. You know what I'm saying? She was really open ears. On the surface, she was a good girl. Okay? Good girl. Never disrespected me once. Really good, right? You know what I'm saying? Really nice and polite with manners and shit, right? But the issue I feel like I had with her was just simply she wasn't talkative enough and shit. She did. I feel like she could have talked more. Could have had more energy. You know what I'm saying? Had a little bit more personality to her. I just feel like she couldn't bring the best out of me. You know what I'm saying? That's just what I feel and shit. So anyway, you know what I'm saying? On to the guy. Let me talk about this high school guy I was working with, right? There was this guy at high school. He was cool as shit. He liked to talk to me about his high school classes. He liked to talk to me about music and shit. He liked to talk to me probably about some online posts he see online or some shit. That's what he talked about. Just regular things that are hip in today's society and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what he would tell me about and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? He told me he liked to listen to Yeet. I'm like, oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying? Never really got into his music or none of that shit, but that's what he liked to listen to. He loved to talk to me about music and some shit. I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I hear you, you know what I'm saying? But I don't listen to all these artists. I don't know a lot of artists like that, you know what I'm saying? I know my music that I made, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I mean? But this the topic of this video is not about music, you know what I'm saying? It's not about music. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Back to the topic I had. What ended up happening was I ended up ended up happening was I ended up, you know what I'm saying, going ahead and we talked to some shit. I was supposed to go to his graduation party, you know, so he had a graduation party. I didn't go because I'm busy as shit. I wasn't really interested in going. He was cool to talk to and shit. He was lazy though. He was lazy as fuck. He didn't do anything around the store. He was like a lazier version of me, you know. So he just walked around the store. If he wasn't on the register, he'll just walk around or some shit with headphones. He didn't do anything. He would get into it with customers. I remember one time he told me this guy ended up bumping him or pushing him. It was some shit. He would get into it with customers. Even like just sometimes he don't get into it with customers, but the times I work with him, I see him get into it with a few customers. That goes for every worker there. We all get into it with customers. But it seems like when I work with him, it'd be like on purpose or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seemed like. I remember he got into it with his lady. You know, it's sad because the lady asked him how he was doing. He didn't say anything or some shit. I'm like, bro, you can't be at work doing that. Like I said, this is his first job and shit like that. He in high school and shit. But I'm like, you know what I mean? You got to take this shit a little bit more serious. You know what I mean? This is a job. This ain't school. You know what I mean? Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and change to a lady now. Knew this big lady, right? She was about middle age, you know what I'm saying? I like working with her. She was cool. She knew how to talk and shit. She was low key funny, you know what I'm saying? She was nice to talk to. Had a good head on her shoulders. Low key gave me advice, even though I don't need advice. Low key tried to give me advice on situations and stuff I have in life. Like as far as like I was telling her I'm getting ready to go to Home Depot. She tried to give me a little bit of advice on what was going on with that. You know what I'm saying? She gave me advice on my STD problem. You know, so I was catching. I told her about my STD problem and shit. You know what I mean? I told her about my driving situation, all that other shit in between. You know what I'm saying? So she tried to help me out with that. She was really nice to talk to and shit, but the only thing she could do was be on the register, and her register speed was average. You know, so she wasn't a fast ass scanner, but she can scan and she know how to talk to customers and shit. She's a talkative person. She has social skills. She know how to talk and shit. You know what I'm saying? She just there and shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But I like talking to her because she brought energy to the workplace and shit like that. Next time we talk about a guy. Let's talk about another guy. Let's talk about a guy with a truck. You know, so let's talk about him. So he, you know, so I think I already talked about him earlier. No, I didn't mention him yet. So he was cool and shit. We had good conversations. I think I did mention him, but I'm gonna do it again just for the sake of this video. We talked this shit, you know what I'm saying? He was down to earth and shit. We got along well, you know what I'm saying? There was a few times we had a couple issues, you know what I'm saying? Especially when I came back the second time. He was a manager, I was a cashier. But the first go around, when I was the manager, he was a cashier. It was good, you know what I'm saying? Like he did his job, he did his role. Like you know what I'm saying? He was on the register. That's all I needed him to do was just be on the register. He scanned at a good speed, all that other shit. He was cool. Like when I was the manager, he was a cashier. Everything was good. You know what I'm saying? Everything was good. We talked this shit. You know what I'm saying? We would talk about anything and everything. We talked about all things. You know what I'm saying? Like all different topics. Shit online, about the Dollar Tree. Just that. The one thing I would say I did not like about him was his gossip. You know what I'm saying? He was somebody that gossiped. He was somebody that would gossip about people in the store. You know what I'm saying? He always talked about this other co-manager, which I'm gonna talk about my co-manager, what I'm gonna talk about after him. He always talk about this lady manager who was old and was mean and shit. He would talk about all the employees there. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. But he would mainly talk about this manager and shit. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? He would talk about this man, then he had a problem with another manager, you know what I'm saying? And he had a problem with the store manager. So I'm like, if he got problems with all these managers, he must got a problem with me, you know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? If he talking about all these people behind their back to me, he must have a real issue with them. I mean, he must have a real issue with me. He must have a real issue with me, you know what I'm saying? I mean, when you think about it, I'm not sure you ever heard a saying, if somebody talk about people behind their back to you, that means they do that to you as well. I'm not sure you ever heard that saying, right? But that's what he would do. That's something I didn't like about him. And I didn't like, sometimes his way of thinking was a little off. But that's normal and shit. As far as like we had disagreements and shit, but we talked about politics, like all that shit. Girls, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like pets, all that shit. We talked about everything. So life, driving. I told him about my driving situation, all that other shit. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't a good advice giver. You know what I'm saying? But we just talked about it. You know what I'm saying? I told him about my shit. He told me about his life and shit. Nice person to talk to. I enjoyed talking to him mostly in the store. He was the person I like talking to most in the store. He was cool and shit. Next, talk about this lady manager. Okay, so this lady manager was bad. You know what I'm saying? She was awful. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? She didn't do much around the store. Well, only thing she would do, she would create buggies, right, with carts full of shit, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? She didn't do go backs. She wasn't on the register. All that she'll do is sweep the floors and create big carts for us to do the go backs. You create these carts. How about you put the items back? Niggas don't feel like putting that shit back. You see what I'm saying? Like you create these big ass carts, put the items back. You see what I'm saying? She didn't do that. I'm like, oh my goodness, man. You know what I'm saying? Why won't you put these items back? You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? She was an asshole. She smoked. You know what I'm saying? She drunk. You know what I'm saying? She drinking shit like that. Bad manager, man. Thought that she was a good manager. Nobody liked her in the store. She was bad, man. She was bad. You know what I'm saying? But I would say, towards me, even the only problem with me I had with her is that she would try to boss me around. And that was her main issue, that she would try to tell people what to do. She even would try to tell the store manager what to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that shit is funny and shit, but her main issue was simply, besides the issues I just named, was bossing me around, you know what I'm saying? If she didn't do that, I wouldn't give a fuck about what she do. She tried to boss me around, especially, like, when we was, like, both, like, when we both kind of, you know what I'm saying, was like just became managers or some shit. She felt as if she could tell me what to do and shit, you know what I'm saying? But then as time went on, it was kind of like I stopped listening to her. I stopped doing what she said and shit. And then eventually we stopped working together, which was the best thing. I'm glad we stopped working together. She would work on my off days, you know what I'm saying? That was great because we was the two closing managers. She would work on my off days, so that was great for me. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was cool and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but when we was working together, it wasn't good, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't good, you know what I mean? Because she was trying to boss me around and shit. Then eventually I had to kind of, you know what I'm saying, push back and all that other shit. We had a little issues, but I just didn't like working with her because, simply because she like to try to always talk to me. She be fake as shit, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? She tried to create an argument or something like that, you know what I'm saying? All that other shit. I mean, nobody in the store liked this woman at all, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody in the store liked her, you know what I'm saying? Everybody had an issue with this woman, you know what I'm saying? Like, every cashier would tell me a story about her. She didn't know how to count money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she know how to count it somewhat, but I'm looking at her counting his money. I'm like, she be messing up on the tills sometimes and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you gotta know how to do all this shit properly. You gotta know how to count properly. You gotta know how to do this. You gotta know how to do that. It's like she was good, but she was a liability pretty much, to be honest. I mean, sometimes she wouldn't come to work. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes she mess up on the till. She create carts and shit. You know what I'm saying? All that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and then people would complain about her personality and shit like that. She was not a good manager, but she was a body there and shit like that, all that other shit. And she will work on my off days. But besides her bossing me around, she was okay. You know what I'm saying? Besides her trying to boss me around, she was okay. You know what I'm saying? She was alright. Like, I didn't have a big issue with her. Besides her trying to tell me what to do, I didn't have a big issue with her. Even though I had an issue with her leaving carts and go backs and shit for me to put away. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a big issue with her. You know what I'm saying? It was okay and shit. You know what I'm saying? It was alright. Next. You know what I'm saying? Next. Let me get to another guy that was there. Uh, Let me see. Oh, I can get to a guy with a cane, right? I worked with him each Dollar Tree period, I think. No, I think it was only the second and third Dollar Tree period I worked with him. You know what I'm saying? He was cool and shit, you know what I'm saying? He was cool and shit, nice to talk to, but all they could do was scare. He couldn't do anything else around the store. He was a cane, he was a liability and shit. He was sort of like the guy that I said earlier, you know what I'm saying? The country guy, whatever. He was sort of like him, but could do less. He couldn't do anything but be on the register. Just like you know, so he was just bad. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you know what I'm saying? He was nice to talk to and shit, funny and shit. To the second go around, the third go around when I worked with him while I was working for free, low key was an asshole, but I had to talk to him. He was the closing manager and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I mean. That's pretty much it for him. Um, what else I need to talk about? There's a lot of people I work with, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to get into each person. I'm just gonna get into marquee people I feel the need to mention. So these are marquee people I mentioned and shit. I work with this other manager. He only worked there for about a month or a couple of weeks. He quit. You know what I'm saying? Because he stole money. He stole money and shit. He ended up cussing the district manager, the store manager out and shit like that. I thought that was funny as shit. You know what I'm saying? He didn't take his job seriously. He was bad at all the other shit. Oh yeah, and before I get ready to get into Home Depot, because I'm about to get ready to transfer to Home Depot. To speak on the guy, you know, so with the truck and shit, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He was cool and shit, you know what I'm saying? But when he became a manager, he would low key try to tell me what to do. But he didn't boss me around per se, you know what I'm saying? He just low key would try to tell me things. Every now and then he'll tell me to do something, like probably once a week he'll try to give me a task or some shit. I'm like, bro, I don't know about this, you know what I'm saying? But he was okay and shit. We got along and shit. I don't want people to know, but once he became a manager, I disliked him more. I liked him more as the cashier versus the manager. That's just me being honest. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much it for Dollar Tree. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much it for Dollar Tree. Now, let me get into Home Depot. Let me go and get into Home Depot and shit. You know what I'm saying? Hold on real quick. Alright, you know what I'm saying? So I'm about to get ready to get into Home Depot. Let me mention a few more things about Dollar Tree before I transfer to Home Depot. So, you know what I'm saying? To end off the Dollar Tree section of this video, Dollar Tree was nice, you know what I'm saying? I would recover the store and shit. I had good marquee stores around me. Sometimes there were people that would come in from different stores into that store. Like I saw people in Shoe Station that would come in Dollar Tree. I saw people for Blaze Pizza that would come in there. Stores around the plaza or Nukes and shit like that. You'll see different people come in. You'll see every nowadays customers come in. I got along well with the customers and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I like walking around. I like going to Smash Burger a lot. I like going to Smash Burger and go eat their burgers and shit. They got good burgers and shit. Dollar Tree overall was a good, you know what I'm saying? It was a good place to be, you know what I'm saying? I had nice stores around me. Stores around me was like tokens, just like I said in the Dollar Tree song, you know what I'm saying? It was cool and shit. I wrote a whole song about it and shit. It was nice. At least once a week I'll see a cute girl come in and shit like that as a customer. It was cool and shit. It was a good place to be. The customers was okay and shit. The stores around me was cool. It was cool, you know what I'm saying? Dollar Tree was cool. I wrote a song about it and shit. Dollar Tree was cool. I just wanted to get into detail about who I was working with and shit like that. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm at a 30-minute mark, so time to get to Home Depot. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if I can stop around 50. It's 50 minutes. So to get into Home Depot, I could tell a little bit more on. So I went to Home Depot, right? I ended up getting a job there, right? I was supposed to be a garden associate. I was supposed to be cashier. I was supposed to be gardening, but I ended up getting paint. So I ended up getting paint. I got the job and shit. I was doing training videos, right? I was on training videos, skipped all that shit. I did a few training videos, then I skipped it. I said, fuck it. I skipped that shit. Got to the end, finished it. They threw me on the floor, you know what I'm saying? Right after I finished the training videos, they threw me on the floor, right? I didn't know nothing. Every day was a blur. This guy, he was telling me, this is how you do this is how you do that, this is how you do this is how you do that. Yeah, that's usually how they be when they first train you or something, right? They tell you a bunch of things at once. It's like, how about you tell me one thing at a time? Don't tell me everything at once. But I guess you're supposed to do that. I guess your first day you tell the trainee everything, then you focus on one thing at a time. I guess that's the best way to do it. But I don't know. He was telling me so much shit. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? After that, what ended up happening was I ended up getting trained. Let's talk about the actual paint training, right? So I had different people training me, but they was telling me, you know what I'm saying, you put what color they want in, you type what color, or sometimes they'll pick a swatch. They'll hand it to you. You get the color, you put it in the system, right? You type it in, you put the order in, right? Then you go find the paint. Now, find the paint to me used to be like a treasure hunt. You know what I'm saying? Finding paint when I first started was a treasure hunt to me. Then as time went on, I knew what all the paint, I knew what all interior, I knew what each brand, Premium Plus, Ultra, Marquee, Dynasty. I knew all the interior. I knew the exterior of the paint. Now the exterior did not have Dynasty. You know what I'm saying? But Dynasty is only bare. But typically for the exterior paint, they only have Ultra. No, blah, they have Premium Plus, Ultra, and Marquee. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm saying nothing but Bear products because the only thing we sold at Home Depot was Bear. That's the only thing we sold. We didn't sell no other paint but Bear and Glidden or Glidden, whatever the fuck that shit called, and Glidden. You know, so we sold that shit too. These are the only two paints that we sold. Glidden Premium was exterior, and then regular Glidden interior, which was premium. So we sold the Glidden Premium, then we sold the regular Glidden without the primer in it. So we had Glidden with primer. Most of our paints had primer. If you don't know, you put primer on before you paint so it can hold and stick together so the grids work together. But nowadays we have paint and primer and shit like that. Um, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? It told me all that other shit. You learn everything organically, you know, so you just gotta work there. You gotta ask questions to your cashiers, you gotta look shit up. All that other shit in between, you just learn about the paint shit, you know what I'm saying? I know a good amount of information about I still remember some shit about paint. You know what I'm saying? I know that I think a gallon covers what, 350 to 400 square feet. A quart covers, I think, 100 square feet or some shit. I think a 5 gallon covers around 1,000 square feet. You know, and then a sample covers, I think, 50 square feet or some shit. I think that's what it is or something like that. I used to remember how the brushes, you want to get like the Worcester brushes. Well, if you're doing it depends on what. If you use a cheap brush, it may leave markings on the wall. So you want to get like a. It depends what you're doing. You see what I'm saying? If you're looking for a disposable brush, you don't want to get the cheap $1, $2, $3 ones. You want to get one that's $5, $6, $7. You see what I'm saying? Like if you're planning to paint an interior wall, you do not need to get a cheap brush. Cheap brushes are like for cheap things. You know what I'm saying? For example, something small and cheap, not something large. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So something small and cheap, for example, would be like a toy. You know what I'm saying? Or a small dresser or something like that. Then you can use that cheap brush. You know what I'm saying? But do not use that brush from no wall or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? No. Do not use that. You need a $5, $6, $7 brush for that. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, it's like yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's what you end up needing and shit, the brushes and shit. I used to remember the rollers and shit. I think So I think I don't really remember the rollers per se. If I remember correctly, I think the bigger the roller, the less paint that will probably be on the wall, or maybe it's vice versa. I don't really know. I don't know. I think it's probably the bigger the roller, the less paint. I don't know, because I think of the paint getting absorbed, right? If you get a big roller with a lot of material on it, it's going to absorb the paint a lot. So I think of, stuff like that. I don't really know. I forgot how it works, man. You know what I'm saying? But, um, I remember some paint things. I forgot a lot about that shit. So it's been a while since I did paint. But I remember that shit. I remember some of the caulk and shit. I remember the caulk and shit. I remember the stains and shit. I remember some of the stains I used for decks, or just dressers, or for furniture or some shit. I remember all that shit. Chalk paint. I remember all that shit in between, So I still got some knowledge on. I got a little bit of knowledge on paint. I forgot a lot about it. But I could easily remember if I get retrained and shit. One thing I wish is Home Depot will never cut my days. So I don't know why Home Depot cut my days, because I missed a day there. They decided to take me off the schedule. And that's where everything went downhill. Oh, well, everything went downhill was when I didn't get my paycheck, because I had to get a new car, right? Envision wanted to fuck up on me, so I had to get a new car and shit. That was the biggest fuck up. I got scammed. I had to get a new car. I didn't get paid. I was working with my payment issue. And then, with the straw that broke the camel's back was when they took me off the schedule. I don't know why they did that bullshit. It was a lot of bullshit in between. Then me figuring out I got hacked and shit, all that shit. I gotta hurry up and wrap up this video, so let me go ahead and get into this shit, So the customers at Home Depot, most of them were amateurs. You see what I'm saying? So most of the customers that came to Home Depot, you always explaining something to them. They always asking you questions. It'd be rare you come across a professional. I like coming across professionals because they'll ask you questions. They come in, get paid, hop out. But when you come across a lot of rookies and amateurs and shit, I don't know nothing about paint, they're like beginners and shit. You gotta explain to them everything and shit. Like I said, towards the middle and end of me doing paint, I was good at explaining shit to customers. You gotta talk them through it, explain this, explain that, and sometimes you gotta go on Google and look it up for them. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta do that shit. That's how paint was. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily a cakewalk unless you have years of experience. I only have 1 year of experience of paint. There's painters there that have been there for years. My paint associates is one that been there for 3 years, 5 years, 20 years, 2 years. I only got like a couple months. You know what I'm saying? So the longer you there, the better you get at it and shit like that. So that's just how it be and shit. You know what I'm saying? My coworkers were mainly old, so I worked with this woman, you know what I'm saying? This woman, she was okay. She knew paint. She worked there for about 3, 4 years. She knew paint. I eventually caught up to her knowledge of paint, or probably surpassed it. She was cool. She was good and shit. You know what I'm saying? She was alright to talk to. I had to work with her during some mornings and shit like that. And I usually always saw her in the afternoons as I come. I was usually always coming after her closing. She was good to talk to and shit. She was nice. But she did have a little bit of an attitude problem. Most women do. But, you know what I'm saying? She was cool and shit. New paint, did the job done. Got the job done, all that other shit. She was cool. Then, you know what I'm saying? I come across this old man. Uh, you know what I'm saying? He knew paint, you know what I'm saying? There's two old men, right? So this one old man, he knew paint, right? But he wasn't good at explaining it. You see what I'm saying? So he knew paint, but wasn't good at explaining it. They both wore glasses. They were both old. So I'm explaining this. One of them was taller than the other, right? So I'm gonna speak on the tall one. The tall one, he knew paint, but wasn't a good explainer. But he knew it. He told me about it. All that other shit, he knew it and shit. He was a good, he was cool to work with. You know what I'm saying? He sometimes would fix the aisles and shit. He'll do the little things, but he won't climb a ladder. He won't stop paint. He won't do none of that shit. But for me, I climb the ladder. I stop paint. I try to face. I try to do everything in between. But most of the time, they try to have me stock. I'm like, I'm not finna stock that heavy ass paint. No, you know what I'm saying? Just because I'm the only guy and the only guy with strength in this apartment does that mean I'm the stock man? Like, nah, I don't like stocking that heavy ass shit. Now I would probably like it because I'm in my workout journey, but back then I didn't like that shit. But anyway, then you got the short older one, right? He was good at explaining it, you know what I'm saying? He was better at explaining it than the tall older one. Apparently, he's the best paint expert there just because he been there for years and all that other shit. But personally, in my opinion, I think it was this guy, right? It was this guy. He used to work in paint, but he transferred over to tools, right? I forgot what you call that section over there, right? I think he was the best paint expert. You see what I'm saying? Because the way he was explaining to me, the way I hear him talk, me work with him and shit like that, it's like he knew paint. Like I know when somebody knows something. Like he knows shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he was the best painter there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's mainly he probably didn't have the most knowledge, but he was better at explaining it than everybody in the department. But he moved. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like, yeah, he was my main trainer. Then I just had to learn everything organically. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I'm saying. Who else was in my department? Yeah, my department head, you know what I'm saying? He knew semi shit. He was more down in the Millworks area, you know what I'm saying? With I think in Millworks there was only like two people over there or some shit. He was over there with some girl or some shit, you know. So that girl was okay, you know what I'm saying? She was alright to talk to and shit. I find myself talking to her more than I expected. I don't know why I was talking to her that much. But she was alright and shit. You know what I'm saying? Uh and yeah, you know what I mean? But he knew a little bit of paint, but he did. He did. I knew more paint than him. I knew more about paint than him. But there was a point in time I was like the best paint guy there. You know what I'm saying? I was the best paint guy there. Like towards the end, I was definitely the best paint guy there. Definitely. I think I was. It was actually the guy in tools, but just because he got like 2 or 3 years, he been working there for years, right? I have not reached the year mark yet. Well, I just hit the year mark, so I've been there only just for a year. He been there for years, you know what I'm saying? So that's why he's better than me and shit. But it'll be him, then it was me. You know what I'm saying? As far as paint experts, then everybody else following the line. You know what I'm saying? Oh, let me speak on this other girl. You know, so worked in my department. Um, so there was this other girl, right? She was kind of new. You know what I'm saying? She was some. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Let me not use the word I wanted to use. You know what I'm saying? But she knew how to. She caught on pretty quick. She was good at making paint and shit. She was cool to talk to. I like talking to her. You know what I'm saying? All that other shit. You know what I'm saying? She was a little weird. You know what I'm saying? All that other shit, right? I never really talk about her much. You know what I'm saying? I never brought her up much in videos, right? Never did. You know what I'm saying? But this is a girl that was okay. You know what I'm saying? She was okay. I had no issues with her, but we did have a few issues, but I never really had an issue with her. I forgot the bitch name. She was some white girl or some shit with short hair. I forgot her name. I can't believe that shit. I feel bad. But anyway, she was alright to work with. And then another girl in my department, Aubrielle, yeah. I forgot about her. You know what I'm saying? I mentioned her name in multiple videos before. She was alright. You know what I'm saying? And all that other shit. You know what I mean? Cool to talk to and shit. Gave me attitude and shit, but you know she was really nice, especially towards the beginning and some shit. I felt bad because I curved her. I curved that bitch. I curved her and shit, just simply because she was being too aggressive towards me and shit like that. I didn't feel comfortable talking to her and shit. We had our ups and downs. Towards the end, everything was starting to get better and shit because we had a point where we was kind of had a little issue. Then it started to get better, and then eventually she just stopped coming to work. You know what I'm saying? So it went from good to bad to getting good again. That's how me and the Aubrielle situation worked. You know what I'm saying? So it was good for a couple of months, then it went bad, and then it went back good, and then everything, you know. But yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's really about it. You know what I'm saying? Who else? Who else? Oh, I ended up getting, and then it was this other guy that came. You know what I'm saying? He used to do lot. He transferred to my department or some shit. He caught on to pay kind of well because I was training him. I was his trainee. I was training him. You know what I'm saying? So he caught on well and shit like that. All that other shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I mean? That's pretty much what happened and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much was the situation. Yeah, I mean, now let me describe some details. I gotta end this video around 50 minutes. All right, let me speed up. So, let me describe some situations there. So there were some cashiers there, you know what I'm saying? I chatted with some of them. Sometimes I'll walk up there, I'll chat with them. I talked to some people at the service desk that was cool to talk to and shit. Um, I talked to some associates and some shit. The associates was cool to talk to. I was always walking around. I was always talking to somebody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, mainly I was talking to the guy in Florida, right? He was somebody I would talk to the most. You know, so he was cool. That was my work acquaintances. You know, so I would talk to him there and shit. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? It was not really something that I enjoyed. You know what I'm saying? To do and shit. You know what I'm saying? As far as like what I mean by something I didn't enjoy to do, I did not enjoy. You know what I'm saying? What am I talking about really? Well, I'm saying I don't know what am I saying right now. You know what I mean? But I talk to pretty much everybody there. I'll talk to anybody. I'll talk to people at garden, hardware, lumber. You know what I'm saying? Service desk, cashier, flooring, whatever else. There was some couple of new guys in Florida that ended up coming too. I was chatting with them and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I was chatting with everybody. I was talking to everybody and shit. You know what I'm saying? Everything was cool and shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got along well with people. I got along well with the workers. Never had a problem with the workers. Let me get into the managers real quick. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's start off with this guy manager, right? Goofy, you know what I'm saying? Talkative and shit. Been there for years, right? He had like problems. Like I don't really know how his mindset would be. It's like he he he'll be cool some days, and the other days he'll be like an asshole. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was like. You know what I'm saying? That he would try to write me up, try to do this. Like, why are you trying to write me up? It's like somebody was telling him to write me up or some shit. It was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, him and my department head, I did not like. I didn't like my department head too much. I mean, he was okay and shit, but like, he started to become a pain in the ass after a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you trying to write me up for it? You know what I'm saying? All that other shit. But like I said, towards like the end, you know what I'm saying, my days there, like that was a no more thing, you know what I'm saying? Like toward the end of my days there, that was pretty much shit, you know what I'm saying? But it seemed as though they was like targeting me, you know what I'm saying? Because it was like the thing I didn't like was like it's different because the other workers they will work with each other, right? So it's hard to get targeted. When you work by yourself most of the time it's easy for you to get targeted, right? Me always being a closer, it's easy for me to get targeted versus when you work with other people, it's not easy to be targeted. So, and there be no customers that come in. All the customers come in the morning and afternoon. They don't come in at night. Nobody's going to get paid at 9 a.m., 9 p.m., or 8 p.m. Nobody's getting paid around that time. So, after you finish the aisles and if there's no paint in stock, what is there to do? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to figure out. You know what I'm saying? Then it'll be like, help out another department. No. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to sit down and chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't got time to learn all this hard shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's why I ended up trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? I ended up trying to go to hardware. I was trying to learn hardware, right? I got rolled up for that. I got rolled up for trying to learn something new at the store. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do you want from me, man? I don't want to get into Home Depot because it's bad time. I don't want to get into this management shit. This shit about to piss me off. Let me not even get into this shit. I'm about to go and wrap up this video. Woo! You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like different managers with different shit. I don't want to get into the managers, man. But let me talk about good man. There was one good guy, right? He always wore a mask or some shit. Cool manager, and he actually knew paint. The only manager I came across that knew paint. Like he actually knows, like he could tell me, like he could teach me something about it. You know what I'm saying? The only manager there that knew it. All the other managers that I mean, they knew how to operate, knew how to make paint, but they couldn't answer no questions. That manager that always wore a mask, he could answer some questions. You know what I'm saying? Only manager that knew paint. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it's just like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But this is the end of this video, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to end this video real quick. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I hope y'all enjoyed this video, you know what I'm saying? These were good years of my life, you know what I'm saying? I had good moments there. I enjoyed talking to the people at Home Depot and shit. It was nice to talk to the people at Home Depot. I had no problem with no worker there at Home Depot, only the managers and how they will operate. That's the problem I have with Home Depot. But I liked it there. And these were the best years of my life, 2021 through 23, job wise. This is the job section of this video. I'm gonna do a sex section probably on Monday or Tuesday. I'm gonna talk about sex. I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna get into like, you know, I already talked about my best sex experience through the music, so I don't feel the need to drop a video on that per se. But I want to talk about like more so my last sexual experience. I do want to relapse on the virginity shit. I want to talk about all that shit. I want to talk about. Those are probably the only two I'm gonna talk about. My last sexual experience virginity. I already talked about my STD through a song and my best experience through the song. And the only reason why I talked about this job shit is just because I wanted to get a little bit more in detail about it. But I wrote songs about it, so you already know about it and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of doing videos on this at the moment and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So I hope y'all enjoyed this video and shit. Kind of doing videos on the Good Memories album. You know what I mean? So I hope y'all enjoyed this video about me talking about my job section, Dollar Tree and Home Depot. Like I said, go listen to Good Memories EP. You know what I'm saying? Go listen to that. You're gonna hear more into. You gonna hear some things I probably left out in the Good Memories EP. You know what I'm saying? You go check that out. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna talk about sex next week. And then I'm gonna talk about other things and shit, you know what I'm saying? So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Yo.